Hey everyone, today we're going to be looking at the Vertus Guardian Raid. Out of all of the level 1 Guardian Raids, this one is definitely the toughest. You'll want to take a nice 4-man group, grab some flares, and just have at it. This is definitely not a Guardian Raid you want to do solo. Vertus has a lot of different mechanics, and unfortunately for us, they do a lot of damage, but on the flip side, they also tend to be pretty slow. So we'll be able to identify all of his attacks before they happen, and have a general awareness of where he might attack from. So without further ado, this is going to be a longer video, but here we go. Starting out with Vertus's basic swipe attack, he'll usually do a double swipe starting with his right hand and then going with his left, and sometimes he'll do a single swipe with only his right. So you'll want to circle around counterclockwise to avoid it. Next we have his jumps. He can either jump forward or backward. In my experience, he tends to jump forward a lot more than backward, but here's footage of both just in case you need it. He doesn't give much of a telegraph for this except for a minor head shake, but he's in the air long enough to where you should be able to dodge it. Keep in mind that as with all Vertus attacks, this has a large AoE, so you'll want to be a decent bit away from him. Going on to his ice attacks, he does have both an ice orb and an ice breath attack. When he uses his orb, it will look like his character is rotating towards you or tracking you, so as soon as you see that, make sure that you're ready to avoid this very fast ice orb attack. You can dodge it simply by walking around him. His ice breath attack starts with a big inhale and it will hit you if you're in front of him, but there's a short window before he blows out that you'll want to use your dodge skill to get out of the way of his outward breath. Now we move on to the more annoying part of Vertus, which is his tail. If you are ever at any point behind Vertus, just watch the tail. It will tell you everything you need to know. First, he has a tail swipe, which will start with a little wag of his tail. You want to dodge out immediately. He also has a spin attack, which will start with him leaning his head, and then his tail will follow his momentum. You'll want to dodge completely out of this radius, as it does knock you back and does a decent amount of damage. And then he has his most obvious move, which is the tail slam. This will combo hit for 3 times, but if you notice this little tail raise at the beginning, you should be able to avoid it pretty nicely. You might not even have to dodge for it. You just have to watch his tail raise and then walk out. The radius for this attack, or the area of effect, is not very big. Vertus, like any Guardian Raid, also has a counterable charge skill where he will flash blue and then charge forward. You will need to hit him very early on or you will take a lot of damage, and if you get hit enough times, this can easily deal a ton of health to you or a teammate. Not only this, but the hitbox seems to extend to a little bit further out than Vertus's actual model, so you'll need to steer clear if you don't get the initial counter-strike off, so be careful. And of course we have everyone's favorite Vertus mechanic, the grab. If you see him try to swipe at you really quickly, that's going for the grab. You can dodge this, but it's still very quick. If someone in your group gets grabbed, you'll need to have them use stagger skills or stagger items. That's the only way to free you from his grip. If nobody staggers him, you'll easily get slammed 3 times, tossed into the air, and then breathed on for a lot of health. You might even die from this. So just make sure that your party members have a whirlwind grenade or stagger skills at the ready, because this can be a devastating move that will easily use one of your life orbs. So that's already a lot of moves and mechanics to keep up with, but Vertus has a few extra bonuses for you. Vertus technically has 3 phases. The first one is whenever you first encounter him. The second phase will be whenever he turns red and goes enraged, and he has 2 extra moves off of that. And finally, phase 3, where he cannot be staggered once he hits 25% health or lower. In phase 2, or his enraged state, he will gain 2 extra moves, that being his water geysers and also his dive and breach. Water geysers are just like the luminous geysers. He will slam on the ground and then spawn some geysers from the ground. Just avoid the red area, you should be fine. If you do get hit, you will be frozen for a few seconds, so definitely spend your dodge skill on this if you need to. Now for his dive and breach, he will go under the ice. What you'll want to look out for is this little puff of ice that comes up, this little puff of ice dust. You want to follow wherever it's going, but to be completely safe, as soon as you see him go under that ice, just start running in a straight direction. You won't need to use a dodge skill or anything as long as you move in a straight line, but you'll need to start early, otherwise he'll catch up with you and deal a lot of damage. Now aside from the extra moves that Vertus gets with his enraged state, you can also stagger him out of this state. If you happen to do so, you can also use a weak point attack to then chop off his tail. It's generally recommended that you do not try to chop off the tail unless you're going for the achievement. The reason being, as we just discussed earlier with the tail attacks, they're very easy to identify, and although they do a lot of damage, they are the easier ones to avoid. So unless you're going for that achievement, don't try to get that tail. Other than that, Vertus' Phase 3 will have him do more damage and attack faster, so just be ready with that DPS. And that's really about it, guys. Study the attack patterns earlier in the video and you should be fine. If you don't hate yourself and you want to make this an easier time, definitely grab a group of 4 and just be ready for a big fight. In fact, starting from Vertus onward, you're going to want to grab a group of 4 anyway for these Guardian raids just because it's a lot easier and they also have a lot more health. Other than that, it's your general Guardian raid advice. Grab some flares, grab a whirlwind grenade for the staggers, and you should be good. Of course, thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Lost Ark content. If you'd like to learn a little bit about Icy Legoros, I went ahead and linked the card up in the top right of your screen, so go ahead and give it a click if you need help with that Guardian raid. And with that, I've been OSK, y'all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.